Warning: World Weary Podcast occasionally discusses mature themes and uses colorful language.
Mommy, do you know where my dolly is? Mommy, do you know where my dolly is? Mommy, Mommy, where are you hiding, Mommy? You being silly, Mommy. Mommy, rate, review, subscribe to World Weary Podcast.
Welcome to World Weary, a podcast hosted by a Briton, which is me, Violet Star,
and an American, which is me, Cassiopeia Walker.
Every week we tackle the weird, the woo-woo, and the wondrous because we like alliteration. But it's but really it's in an attempt to rekindle a little sense of magic and wonder in our universe, or universes. Which is especially important when everything appears bleak and the world seems to be on a downhill trajectory, which it probably is, to be honest.
Oh, what a week Britain has had.
Oh, don't. I mean...
What a week. We don't get political, but what a week. Ambiguously stated.
Yeah, it's very dark in here. Should we put the magic fairy ball on?
I put the unicorn headband
That's making it slightly more depressing just how dark it is, and we're about to get into
there we go.
Our therapy session that we put at the beginning of each episode, because we need to put this stuff out here and vent so that we are then free and empty to explore aliens or whatever we're talking about this week.
I can't even light a candle. That's how my week's going. Can't even successfully light a candle.
What bleakness have we been battling this week?
Self-doubt. Again, am I the worst?
Oh god, that's deep.
No,
it's basic.
Yeah, it's always comes back to me just being like, I'm a failure. But I'm also feeling really positive, so that's good. It's like a weird duality at the moment where I'm like just battling those voices and trying to be like, no. But other than that, it's pretty calm. It's been very warm, so I've just not had the energy to be that rowdy or anything.
Oh, the heat wave.
Gosh.
Too hot. I couldn't even sleep in my own bedroom last night. I had to go down a floor. But I did sleep, so that's good. I don't know. My past week, I've had some big highs, but I've been so busy that my main problem has been that I'm just like constantly distracted and stressed and haven't had time to think and frazzled and like burnt out almost. I'm moving house at the moment.
Yes.
Which is very exciting, but, I've been, like, working all day and then moving my stuff in the evenings, and it's a heat wave, and I'm trying to clean the house, and... So recording this podcast is actually a really nice break for me. And last weekend, my older sister got married. I've told Cassie all about it. It was a lovely traditional wedding, and both the bride and groom had massive families, so it was quite a sizable event. And she had a really nice kind of dreamy floral fairy dress.
Yeah. Which
looked super cool. And it was very cool to see lots of families being brought together. Like, we're one of those families with lots of broken relationships and like step parents and step grandparents and lots of different sets of siblings. And when you're the child of separated parents, especially, when your parents and their families don't, necessarily have a great relationship, when there's that lasting resentment or like negative feelings towards each other.
Yeah.
As the child, the prospect of bringing those factions together at a wedding is quite daunting. You know, especially if they haven't seen each other for decades.
Yeah.
Certainly in my case, I feel it would be a source of tension and awkwardness. It would be like a 1v1 situation in my case. And, you know, I would always feel, no matter how much it's meant to be a happy celebration, you would always feel like deep down, some people were like gritting their teeth or a bit uncomfortable. But I think it's fair to say that for my older sister, her and her husband, they both have such huge, diverse families that, you know, at the wedding, everyone has to get along and rub shoulders. You know, it wasn't like a 1v1 situation. You realise there's so many of you, you're all broken families and you're all in the same boat, and you can actually relax and enjoy yourselves and realise this is like a great opportunity to heal and, you know, just have a fresh start. And another factor, I think, of why their wedding was so successful and so comfortable is literally down to the fact that they themselves, like my older sister and her husband, are really genuine people.
Yeah.
And they're very open and fair, and they just treat everyone very lovingly. And they're the kind of people who are like so loving that bitterness can't really exist around them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's sort of like you have to level up.
They wilt all the like depressing flowers away. Like they're like so springy and kind. So when you're in the presence of people who are so nice like that, you know, it's like, okay, everyone has to behave and be congenial with each other. It's, you know, kindness is infectious kind of thing. So it was, a super great day. But it did make me realise that if I ever have a wedding, I'm going to have to go down a very unconventional route.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would be a bit awkward. And it does take a certain personality to pull off the big traditional wedding. And I'm weird and heathen. So when I try to like imagine a wedding reception for me that would work, in my mind's eye, I just see darkness and like large bonfires and drumming and like probably someone turning something on a spit. Like,
yeah, it would be great. But you'd make it happen.
Yeah, I would. I also did have the chick flick movie moment at the wedding.
Oh no, did you catch the bouquet?
No.
Oh, thank goodness.
More like niche than that in a way. But I told you about this, but I met a lovely lady who was sitting at the same table as me at the reception who's wearing the exact same dress. Oh my God.
And you hashtagged it, and I was like, it was so nice to see a bunch of women who happen to have the same dress on who are celebrating it rather than it being some kind of weird source of tension.
We were the stereotypical guests screaming like, oh my God, we're wearing the same dress. And guests coming up to us and saying, oh my God, you're wearing the same dress. And we were like running around hysterically and having lots of photo shoots. So we bonded over the fact that we both have great taste, basically. Yeah. If you're a new listener,
it's like, what's this podcast
and you're wondering
about?
What the fuck is going on?
Is it about weddings?
And wondering how...
This is the light portion before we get dark and fucked up. They wish it could be talking about weddings.
That was the therapy session part, okay? If you're wondering what the fuck's going on and how the hell we are qualified to talk about the topics that we do, hello.
I'm getting my demonologist. Hi, I'm Cassiopeia Walker. I'm getting my demonologist degree for $20 online.
Yes.
It's happening.
Really?
Wow. I'm doing it.
Okay, let's do it.
This month, August, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to vlog some of my journey to become the world's greatest demonologist.
We're getting you a little trench coat, little leather
I'm gonna start
black
calling
trench
the Vatican like, I need sources, I need priests.
Okay, hello, this is us.
Hi.
I am the anthropology archaeology person, which means that yes, I am that interested in archaeology and anthropology that I've moved around this country studying it at great personal expense, which I'm probably hugely in debt forever, just because I'm very enthusiastic about the human past. And Cassiopeia here, other than an aspiring demonologist,
yes,
is a real-life practicing witch.
True.
Multi-talented, self-taught. She's been live streaming games for years. She's a musician, a singer-songwriter, entertainer, and I think we can safely now add rapping to your repertoire.
Oh no, don't tell him that.
So basically, very talented artist who writes all her own stuff.
And I'll die in obscurity, yay!
Together, using our combined skills, we will go places that other podcasters are afraid to go.
That's right.
If you want to get deep into the human experience and think about really insane stuff, you have come to the right place. We don't just talk about leprechauns here, okay? We talk about the charred remains of leprechauns in this podcast. We don't just talk about weird anomalies under the sea. We will rant about pseudo-archaeology and racism. You think you're listening to a whimsical Harry Potter-themed podcast? I mean, you can bet that I will work in some terrifying dead body medical history tales.
You know what? I was informed by a listener the other day that a week and a half after we did our podcast about the Mumia, TED Ed, a TED Talks side project podcast thing, did an episode on Mumia. We are starting the trends. We're finding the stories that no one else is finding, that they're too afraid to research.
Oh my god. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to be a woman disguised as a man on an 18th century pirate ship? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live in complete isolation on this planet? Who the fuck is Freddie Crystal? Okay? We will
hard topics no one is going after.
We will try and answer some of these questions, and other ones we won't attempt to answer. And today, I am in charge of the episode, and I've picked dolls. In particular, haunted dolls, everyone's favourite subject. This episode is definitely going to be anecdote heavy, because I know you, Cassie, have got a personal haunted doll story. I don't know when you want to tell it, if you're going to weave that into a story later on.
I don't mind telling it whatever.
Okay, you bring it out at the opportune moment.
Yeah, I'll tell it during my story. They have to wait.
Yeah.
You have to wait.
There's going to be little pockets of anecdotal creepy nuggets. Weird, ugly, creepy toys.
Haunted.
Yeah. What weird, creepy toys
Kami
did you have when you were a kid that was like, ooh, like an ugly toy or like a creepy one?
Ooh. There was this really creepy baby doll that was just sort of already gross because my sister would keep it outside all the time.
Oh,
but she
that's the worst.
insisted on keeping
Outdoors
it.
baby dolls.
Yeah, and she would keep it and then have it in the bed and stuff when we shared a bed and stuff like that, like creepy little baby dolls. She didn't mind playing with baby dolls and stuff, but I hated dolls because I didn't like, even as a baby child, I'm talking real young, I was just like, no way am I having children. And they would get me dolls and stuff, and I at first liked them, and then weird stuff started happening, and I'll tell you that story later. Yeah, it just, I just sort of rebelled against them by the time I was about 5, and I was just like, fuck dolls. Like, I was just like, I hate them. The creepy dolls showing the progress of a woman's life in my mom's house.
You told me about these. These sound horrible.
So, okay, so my
like,
mom's
I was
a doll
actually
collector.
like weirded out whenever Cassie tells me about this.
My mom is a doll collector, so basically her bedroom is a living nightmare. She collects dolls and teddy bears, and she stuffs them on every available space in the room in very particular places. And at the top of her dresser was always this progression series of these dolls. A mother and a daughter. At first there's a mother and her daughter, and then the daughter is a baby and the mom's holding the baby. And then the next one of the daughter is a little older and she's wearing like a little night dress from the 1800s. And then the next one, the daughter is like a teenager with a dude. And then the next one, she's got a baby, herself, and then the grandma's there with her.
Wasn't
and the
there
baby.
like a pregnant one?
Yeah, there's one where she's pregnant, sorry. Yeah, after she gets married.
That was the one that freaked me out, was
It like goes through the whole cycle, and I remember seeing that as a kid and being like, I am not going to play out that story. That is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, it was just really weird to me that was like, it was all set up and they throw babies at you and stuff. Like, here, learn how to take care of children and everyone else around you before yourself as a child. It was really creepy. I hated dolls.
I was having to think about what my creepiest toy was.
Just imagine my mom being like, Cass, get my purse. And me having to go up to the creepy doll room that she kept at very cold temperatures all the time. And like, it just smelled like she had all sorts of dolls and teddy bears. My
partner's mum has some traditional Japanese dolls on display sometimes in this like music room. And to get out of where the guest bedroom is and go into the rest of the house, I have to walk down a little corridor, and that flashes past me.
It's like that Silent Hill.
The doll's looking at the doorway, and I'm like, you have to like run past that door.
Fatal Frame as well. There's a room full of dolls, and they all.
It's the creepiest game.
It's the worst.
That's the little photographer one.
Yeah, Fatal Frame is the worst. I couldn't finish it.
So yeah, I was having a good think about what toy I had that really creeped me out, because you know me, I had some weird creepy toys. Like there's probably a lot of toys I had that people were like,
they've banned them since,
that I think were like totally fine, but you would probably like scream in horror at.
My mom also collected tiny clowns and music boxes.
Okay, listen to this then. Listen to
that she put around the house. Porcelain clowns everywhere, Violet. This is why we get along. This is why we get along. Your mum ticked
the boxes of creepy doll collector and clown lady, like the people, you know, the old people with all the clown statues.
It's a very specific thing. My grandma liked owls, and she had porcelain owls everywhere, which I didn't find that spooky.
Owls is another common one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know a few owl collectors.
She just had owls everywhere. Owl portraits, giant owls, tiny owls. Owl things everywhere. Like her furniture had little carved owls in them. And my mom had the clowns and the dolls. Lots of dolls and
You're
clowns.
in the nightmare house.
Stuck in that like sort of teenage, like child mindset all the time with what you put around yourself.
My creepiest toy that I can think of, the one that's like the obvious one that springs to mind, is that me and my sister were gifted a creepy wooden puppet of a clown Axeman. Okay, I just need to reiterate a clown Axeman puppet for children. A little clown with an axe in his hand.
Did I tell you my grandma had a marionette collection? And I spent a lot of my childhood playing with marionettes. There was a puppy one.
No wonder it was so weird.
I spent a lot of, that's why I like puppets and stuff, and why I can like, recently someone had a marionette and I was making it do all the things, and they're like, oh wow, you're really good at that. I was like, yeah, because I trained as a child, because I thought I was going to have little puppet shows. You know me, I misperform. So like, yeah, I used to make up my own marionette shows in the creepy haunted house of hers. In the daycare with the lights flickering and shit, and I run out of there.
Yeah, my clown Axeman puppet was not a popular toy, funnily enough.
No, I bet not.
But you could do, I remember trying to do it, like hold the puppet up and maneuver it so that it could, because it could lift.
Oh, the axe.
The axe
up and
down.
Of course you were like, let's get this axe on the go.
We were little, you know, I was like 7 or 8 maybe when we had that clown Axeman puppet. And it was creepy. We wouldn't have it in either of our bedrooms. We kept it in another room because we were like, no, like that is not.
Yeah, we'll play with it during the day when we want to have a laugh, but he's got to be isolated in a place that he's trapped.
My grandma had like a box of like toys for the grandchildren to play with when we used to go and stay around there.
What kind of horrifying things are in this toy box?
A lot. So many that we've probably just blocked a lot of them out, but the one that I really remember are the Red Riding Hood puppet dolls, like finger puppets or like hand puppets.
Did you see that one Lauren had with the long nose that we had on our bookshelf for a little while? That creepy one I showed you.
Oh, I'll have a look later. Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I remember.
Yeah, it had just like a creepy long nose, weird straw man puppet, like weird finger puppet.
Yeah, these Red Riding Hood hand puppets. They were like, they could be flipped upside down. They were like had a big skirt on, and you could pull the skirt over
So it's
one
like
way
the
or
grandma
another.
or the wolf.
Yeah. So it was the grandma or the wolf, and like Red Riding Hood, or like a sad crying Red Riding Hood.
Oh no.
Yeah, and that was creepy playing with those.
fuck?
Yeah, we had a lot of like weird toys when we went to play at Granny's house. So we talk a lot about playing weird games when we were kids. But what weird stuff did we do with dolls and Barbies?
Oh no, are we gonna have that conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you about the time my weird Christian friend like reenacted like the sexual assault of Barbie before me? Like I had only ever innocently played with Barbies. Like I never did anything sexual like per se till I was like, I remember my sister was younger, so I was playing with Barbies up to the age of 13, 14, when she was like quite still young. And the most I do is like have like an evil dude like who kidnapped some of the Barbies,
Oh God.
and
Okay,
he would
we're
hide them in
so
isolated
go in
rooms.
deep into
Some
this
would
in a minute.
have nicer clothes than others, if you like, because I was actively playing out Stockholm Syndrome, sort of inspired by Beauty and the Beast. I think that's what it was inspired by. And like I had this one dude in charge of this harem of female Barbies, and my favorite Barbies would be the ones he favored, but they would never kiss or anything because he had to like, he was trying to earn her love even though she's trapped, and they'd always have the conversation of like, you have to let me go, but I can't. And I'd make my sister do the boy voice because she was really good at doing a dude voice, so she always had to play the dude. Like I'd be like, make him say this and make him say that. But yeah, my friend, I went over her house to like, and she was like always bragging about how many times she read the Bible and this stuff, like really Christian. Shout out to anybody Christian, you know, love you. But in her case, there must have been something going on because like, yeah, the first thing she did, I was like, yeah, we're at the beach. We're playing beach Barbies. And I get their bathing suits out and she goes, hey, and like starts sexually assaulting my Barbie. And I was like, wait, what's going on? And like, I'm trying to react and improvise to the situation. I'm like, wait, calm down, Ken, calm down. And she's like, take off your shirt. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I'm 12 years old. We just had birthday cake. What's happening? I bought you like a necklace.
Oh man, you guys are just gonna learn a lot of really creepy, weird, vulnerable side to us today, I think.
Yeah, we
go down memory lane powered by G&T.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I'm gonna go real. We're gonna go life story with Violet. Okay, let's have a sip before we go into that, because Lord knows we need it. Right. My earliest memories of playing with dolls was around 4 or 5 years old, and I had a raggle-taggle selection of vintage baby dolls and stuffed animals. Not the taxidermy variety. Not that creepy. That was later on in my childhood, in fact.
Oh god.
So I used to play with this little lineup where I was the teacher, and so I would line them up on a windowsill and conduct a choir rehearsal where my cast of vintage dolls and toys would sing a self-composed piece of music I titled We Are Babies. So you need to imagine a creepy little 5-year-old me with my creepy little British accent stood at a window
Pale as the moon
in a little charming townhouse in rural Dorset in England with a lineup of vintage dolls singing, We are babies, we are babies, we are babies, tra-la-la-la-la-la, over and over again. How weird was I?
Yeah.
What a creepy little freaky kid.
I would have put you up for adoption.
How did I turn out this well?
Something's wrong with this one. I gotta send it back.
So that's just evidence I was obviously born odd. Yeah, but I really enjoyed playing with Barbies and like plushies and Beanie Babies and things. However, I was not into playing house that much, or like playing babies or like baby dolls. When I was in primary school, a lot of kids, their like go-to game was playing families and like mummies and babies,
Oh, I
or like
hated
baby
that.
dolls.
Yeah.
And I was so not interested in that. Like, other kids would like fight because they would want to like play the baby or like the little sister or the mummy. But me and my slightly freaky friends, shout out Abigail and Laura, were like, okay, here's the deal. We'll play your little Happy Families game. We'll join in. But Abigail is going to be Rainbow Unicorn Pegasus. And Laura is going to be your evil, satanic killer pet wolf. And I'm going to be a crazy elderly man who lives next door.
I loved playing an old man as a kid.
Like the crazy old man.
Yeah,
was like
the crotchety old man.
funniest, like, little, like, character you could do. You know, I just was not interested in playing babies and families.
No, it's not my bag either.
I was just interested in, like, adult life when I was a kid, and, like, albeit fantastical life. It was all about playing games about being a woman and being friends with, like, other successful, like, glamorous women. And what was great about Barbies was that you could literally simulate that.
Yeah. You could be. It was your own game. And as soon as I got Sims as a young kid,
oh my god, that was
the ultimate step up. As like you were like, I'm a young teen, but I can play dolls and it's still acceptable. But it's a different kind of doll, and I can make them look what I want to, and I can make them do all these cool things that I can't do with Barbies. They can ride their car. They can do all these things where like
it literally is dolls like
it's
2.0.
Yeah,
like.
and it's Legos for dudes who like the architecture. Like my brother would want to just play the build mode, where he'd build like his dream house and stuff. Like it was great for that shit. I used to build my absolute dream, and I'd always have like an attic game room where I'd put all the arcade machines and stuff.
I would do stuff like trap the clown on the balcony.
Oh my god, that's creepy. I didn't do a lot of evil things when I played Sims as a kid. Like I would just be like always trying to do a legacy mode, you know? But it never worked out.
I liked the one that was the city where you could have earthquakes and UFOs.
Yeah.
SimCity. That was great. I learned a lot about how to run in a small American city in that game. Now, I'm sure I've like bored you to death with this because I mention it a lot, but I had Fish and Chip Shop Barbie when I was a kid, who was a lovely Barbie with a red and white striped apron that she wore. I had a brunette Barbie who I styled as Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and, like, plaited her hair. She was like my mini-me Barbie. Yeah. You know, you always have one.
You always
like
have one that represents
the special
you.
one that's like you. I also had one that wore a salmon pink, sparkly Lurex jumpsuit.
Well, my coveted dolls were like my Jasmine and my Aladdin dolls because they were like special, non-Barbie, but like Disney dolls.
Yeah, I had a Mulan one.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah, I really lucked out with that. Yeah, jumpsuit Barbie, sparkly jumpsuit Barbie. I didn't have the vocabulary and the like adult knowledge of the world back then to like express it. But for all intents and purposes, jumpsuit Barbie was a sex worker.
Okay, yeah.
And she would get abducted or kidnapped a lot.
I had the same things, like.
And like you're saying, like how it was like influenced maybe by like movies or whatever. I'm sure this was influenced by me watching like Channel 4 documentaries and Forensic Files with my mum. Yeah. Like way too young, and it sort of kind of subconsciously come out in my play, you know?
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so like children playing out abduction and like kidnapping scenarios. You know, I'm sure boys do too, but I wonder if it is kind of more prevalent amongst girls.
Maybe it's like a...
There is that damsel in distress thing that's like in movies and stuff. You know, it's like more often than not women getting kidnapped.
Especially in the 90s.
And that definitely has an influence, like if you watch movies and stuff like that. But I also think girls are kind of conditioned from a young age just to be kind of more attuned to that different kind of danger. You know, it's like that unspoken thing where everyone knows, you know, little girls are extremely vulnerable. So maybe it does kind of come out like a little awareness to that.
Maybe
Bubbles out into like play where you try to make sense.
If you're a dude and you played out some of those kind of things, I want to hear about it. Definitely send us an email.
Yeah.
What kind of things did you play out? Because we only have our perspective.
And I didn't grow up with any brothers, so...
I grew up with a brother, but my brother's a special case. He literally is like... And he was busy taking apart machines and putting them back together and doing crazy things with his Legos. He didn't really play with dolls. He like read about dinosaurs and wrote books that were really young. You know, he's one of those. He's like savant levels of like just weird.
Yeah, playing with dolls is kind of like a safe space to simulate very complex social situations and make sense of stuff and act out conflicts and dangers from a safe distance in the same way that children like play fight or you know, it's all like learning stuff, it's figuring things out. So anyone who undervalues playing with Barbies and dolls, okay, you need to
if you think that's just silly,
you need to go learn up, okay, you need to go smart up basically, because it's not just about playing house, it's not just learning to look after babies or showing off how many Barbie shoes and Barbie handbags you have. Barbies was like, you can role play any scenario.
Yeah. And how you would deal with it. And a lot of the times you deal with like, you act out bullying situations as well, where you like, you come up with that comeback.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, how you would deal with it.
Yeah.
And like you learn complex social situations because it forces you to think, okay, these are different characters. These are different people. You naturally sort of try and give them their own personality. So you're doing these complex social situation role-play wise. You're thinking. Yeah.
You're learning all these defense mechanisms. You're learning how to negotiate, how to manipulate. We were simulating crimes, simulating medical and health issues.
Bank heists.
I had Barbies that were diagnosed with terminal illnesses.
Oh no.
Okay, and then I don't know where I got that idea, but it was then a game of how do the other Barbies react to this? Who's going to be supportive? How are they going to be supportive? What is the Barbie going through that's going through this terminal illness? I played storylines of vulnerable women being abducted and attacked, relationships. You know, fish and chip shop Barbie was definitely figuring out her place in the British class system, because you know, I had posh Barbies in like ball gowns and diamonds.
Oh my god!
Coming into the chip shop to get some chips and like looking down their noses at fish and chip shop Barbie and her cheap little apron. You know, okay, we know Barbie is like kind of problematic.
Oh,
you know,
super.
we get, you know, it's very gendered and there is a lot of sexist stuff to contend with, and Barbie is obviously an unrealistic depiction of a woman. You know, they've got tiny feet, and there are lots of parents who would consider Barbie
tiny.
quite people would consider Barbie quite trashy or tacky nowadays.
Yeah.
But if you can forgive some of Barbie's more controversial moments.
Well, she just represents something that's always been part of human culture. And
Barbie, she's short for Barbara, okay? She's a product of her time, people. Like, think about that. She's literally called Barbara.
Barbie.
Barb. What I'm really trying to express here is do not underestimate dolls and Barbies. Like, we're so conditioned to think of them as inferior, like more basic toys, you know, like dolls and like Barbies are, you know, not all about teaching girls to be like sexy and bitchy or to play domestic goddess, you know. Partly, I think, when I really get deep on it, I think that's the result of this subconscious thing that anything in the traditionally feminine realm is automatically useless or lame or unworthy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, sure, Lego is fucking great and all you can, you know, pretend that your kids are gonna grow up to be architects and
engineers,
robot engineers, like, but the imaginary worlds that dolls are a part of are incredibly
vast,
deep and rich and magical, like huge. You know, I can't even begin to describe the excitement and magic that children can create when two kids play with their dolls together. It's like directing your
We spent
dream
hours doing
Hollywood movie.
Yeah, it was. It
with
was.
a cast of beautiful actors and actresses, and look. Okay.
And they're just the tools that we at some point, a little girl just wanted a doll, and Barbie was just the first one who fucking made it happen massively with like something that picked up at its time and got like blah 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 blah. That's Mattel for you. I really hate that everything feminine is bad. It seems like that. It seems like everything that's feminine, you got to make fun of it. And that's why there's all this fucked up shit in the world, because there's an imbalance between femininity and masculinity. And everyone's fighting against actually admitting it. Just admitting it. Everyone's like, you know how many fucking idiot dudes have just like looked at me and be like, you got it so good. And I was like, tell that to me when I'm getting physically assaulted anytime I go out without a dude next to me guarding me. Like, you have no idea. Like, and they're gonna shit on our Barbies as well. Fuck these.
We like to weave our therapy throughout this podcast. Okay? This is our medicine. Yeah, okay, people. I am living certified proof that Barbies are good for you, because I have a first-class master's degree in social sciences, and I played with a lot of Barbies. And they were big-boobed, like California 90s Barbies as well. Like, none of these Barbies trying to look realistic. Like, these were like proper, like, makeup, pink eyeshadow up to the eyebrow 90s Barbies. And I turned out pretty great, I think. Yeah. I can only give you my personal recommendation. So, dolls. Let's get deep on dolls. Can they be haunted, Cassie?
I think so. I think anything of a certain age, or especially dolls themselves, I think traditionally can be seen as vessels for spirits in particular because of their human-like appearance.
Absolutely. I think it's like this whole concept of figurines being capable of containing or like having spirits attached to them, vessels for the spirits. Look at voodoo dolls. Look at the idea that you can make a man out of clay and it could come to life.
The homunculus.
Statues or idols of gods.
Homunculus is just a nerdy dude's doll.
Yeah.
It's like weird science doll.
Religious statues literally give a tangible existence to a kind of god entity, on this planet. Even like robots and AI, okay, that's like, we're still doing the Frankenstein's monster thing, like trying to bring life to fricking dolls and statues. Fricking AI, cutting edge technology sex robots, mainly catered for men. Those are sex dolls, fucking dolls. Like, when do these creations stop being classified as toys? Like, is that when you become on human level or something? Like, there's some weird stuff going on this planet.
Well,
basically.
they'll still classify it as a toy. They'll just classify it as a sex toy.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, adults play with dolls too. People.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of men out there with dolls.
I've seen a lot of documentaries about the doll thing because I just find it so fascinating. Is the living dolls in particular, when they first came out, those really back then quote unquote lifelike looking dolls, and like some people got married to them. Like, I've seen a lot of them, and it just fascinates me. I don't have anything against it, you do you, but yeah, it's very fascinating to me when it becomes the object is more. There's that lady on that Addicted show in America who's addicted to this tiny baby doll that she would smell. Had weird pedo vibes because she's like sort of married to it, but it's a baby doll.
Smell the baby doll. That is
and
weird
she has to smell
story.
it all the time.
Ooh, creepy.
She's tried other dolls, but they don't have the same smell and stuff.
Should have been your story today, Cassie.
Oh no,
the woman that smelled the little doll. Have you ever thrown a toy or a teddy or something in a bin?
That's part of the story later. Do we just want to talk about it now?
Well,
we may as well.
Okay. So when we're talking about throwing toys in a bin, I'm not talking about broken Lego. I'm talking about figurines, things that look like beings or like animals or people or babies. And I was going to mention Japan quickly because
go on.
Dolls are a big part of their culture and traditions.
Don't they have a whole doll town? Creepy doll town.
They love dolls. And because of that, they have a good way of dealing with discarding your special dolls.
Oh, okay.
You know, because you can't just, like, throw that in the bin. You know, it's kind of weird, right? There is a concept which I think is kind of linked to traditional religious and sort of spiritual beliefs in Japan, that dolls can house souls, or that they have some kind of spirit.
Ugh.
So what many shrines now do is they hold doll memorial ceremonies. So each shrine that kind of offers the service, they probably do it a little bit differently, but in essence, people bring their special dolls to the shrine. They might be very old dolls or have special sentimental value. I was reading about one woman who, her husband had died several years earlier, and she had these traditional like emperor and empress dolls that had been a gift to them on their wedding day. So because these dolls had been witness to the many, many years of her married life, you know, now that her husband had died, she wanted to put the dolls to rest respectfully, you know, and let them pass on too, in a kind of dignified way. Another woman had stuffed animal toys that had been her kids, and now, you know, all her kids are grown up. She needed to discard of them, but her sentimental attachment was very strong, and the toys carried the memories of her sort of children's childhoods. And in other instances, it's people who are sorting out, you know, the possessions of relatives that have passed away, you know, people who've inherited old dolls and not really sure what the most respectful way to deal with them is. I was reading interviews with people who had taken their dolls to these shrines, and they were saying stuff like, you know, you can't throw away things with eyes, noses, and mouths. It's almost a bit taboo.
Oh, okay.
And in Japanese, the characters for the word for doll, which is ningyo, these like traditional Japanese dolls, it literally means human form. You know what I mean? So it's it's all very, very symbolic to these kind of ideas. At this shrine ceremony, they line up a big display of dolls that people have brought, and they do blessings, and a big part of it is thanking the dolls, you know, for their service and for the memories. And then in some cases, the shrine sets them all on fire in a big doll funeral pyre.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of get a proper death, basically.
Yeah.
They get to kind of be put to peace.
That's nice. That's not creepy at all. And
it's just, you can't throw like a teddy bear in with like rotting like vegetables and cardboard and stuff. You know, it's a super sad thing because they've got faces and stuff. Like,
I can understand.
Okay, my story today is the doll from the junk shop.
Ugh, I don't like it already. I've got spooky skull-shaped ice in my glass now. It's really hot in the UK right now.
Yeah, we are having a heat wave. We're slightly burning up in here, but we're doing it for the podcast.
Yeah.
In June 2017, Debbie Merrick from Kings Lynn, Norfolk, so yes, it's another story from the UK, guys, I'm afraid, then 50 years old at the time, and her husband Cameron were out shopping. They are walking past a junk shop and see a set of 3 fancy dolls in the window. You know, the kind that are made of like china or ceramic, like decorative dolls rather than like children's toys. Debbie's husband Cameron noticed them. He thought they may be very valuable, and the price tag said £5. Sounded like a good deal to him.
Bargain.
He was thinking, you know, maybe he could sell them on for more and make some money. Debbie wasn't too keen on dolls herself. She'd never been interested in them or collected them before. In fact, she didn't really like them, and she thought dolls were scary.
Yep.
However, staring back at Debbie through the shop window, the dolls pierced into Debbie's mind. Debbie had a feeling she just couldn't shake. Looking at those dolls, she felt compelled to buy them, and, encouraged by her husband at what a great investment they could make, she went into the shop, and the next thing she knew, she was taking the dolls home with her. Debbie said, I don't know why I decided to buy the dolls. It was a bit strange, but at the time I didn't think much about it. Even that's unusual.
This is why you take your rose quartz when you go to the antique shop, and you take your sage, because you don't want to be easily influenced by the creepy evil dolls.
I know the feeling, Debbie. It's like we've all had an impulse buy that we regret. Okay? Okay, Debbie, we hear you. In fact, I have had a lot of... This is why I can't go shopping alone at physical, real shops. Because... Not because I'm a serial impulse buyer, although I'm not, I buy a lot of stuff. I often have those, weird experiences in shops where I've left, buying something I didn't really want or just feeling duped. I've already spoken about my experience in that occult bookshop in London.
Yeah.
And, I left there feeling like, I've been put under a spell. And it wasn't that I bought anything against my will, but it was just very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so I'm just traumatized. I actually went to a teddy bear shop about a year ago in Norwich. And we were walking past it, and I was like, oh, that's like a weird shop. It was like literally a teddy bear shop. Just like the windows were it was like a little Victorian, glass windowy traditional shop. But literally crammed this to the ceilings with just antique teddy bears and collectible bears, just jammed into cupboards, stuffed, literally hundreds of them squeezed into the windows, and shop just packed full of teddy bears. And me, of course, intrigued. I'm like, yeah, I want to see this eccentric bear shop. So I go in and look, and I just froze because in the shop was a man, okay, just in this tiny dark shop full of teddy bears, was a dude, an older man, maybe in his 50s or early 60s, who literally looked like he was evolving into a teddy bear human hybrid. I'm not joking, he was wearing light brown, yellowy clothes, head to toe, woolly stuff. His face, he had a weird beard that was joining up to his little curly, woolly, browny grey yellow hair, fluffy beard. He looked like his ears were weird. He really looked like a teddy bear. He was evolving into his nightmare teddy bear hybrid. And it freaked me out. I had it was that uncanny valley thing.
Yeah.
When you look at a clown or something, it was I was just if I take another step into the shop, if I engage with this teddy bear freak, I'm going to get turned into a bear and be staring out of that window display for the rest of eternity.
Oh my god, you got that
it
feeling?
Was that vibe of
Did you walk away?
Yes.
Good, because what if he's actually a crazy teddy bear wizard?
Yeah, traveling dimensions,
anyone that
capturing
actually goes in there,
people's souls and putting them in teddy bears.
And then displaying them in the shop.
That's exactly the feeling.
And then he sells them to witches and shit.
Yeah, that's exactly the feeling.
You gotta trust your instincts. If you felt that way, walk away. It doesn't matter how crazy the thought is.
Okay, even if I'm out here, my mind goes to interdimensional, teddy bear wizard, evil guy. In real life, that might translate to these are the vibes you get from a psychopath or a serial killer or a bad person who is fucking creepy for a good reason. You listen to those instincts.
Yeah.
That's my segue into creepy shop experiences.
I want to go to this shop.
My god. Okay, next, on the same level creepy. Okay, these are the characters.
Someone from Norwich, please email us if you've ever been in there.
I have a picture of me outside the teddy bear and teddy bear shop.
What if it's someone's uncle and they're like, wow, you called him the teddy bear freak?
I'm so sorry. It might not have been the shopkeeper, though. He was just stood. It was the only person I could see in the shop. Okay. So it may be just a weird teddy bear collector who goes to the shop every day to buy another teddy bear for his collection.
Oh, man.
And he is actually
So what was the other story?
Okay. The other one, on the same level of creepy as teddy bear freak, is a local... I won't go too specific, okay? I don't want, the police on me. Okay, not police. Vigilantes. Antiques vigilantes on me. But There is a man I know who has an antique shop. It's a good antique shop, but me and my family call him the Clown Man because he has like just yellowed skin from nicotine, yellowed curly hair from nicotine, yellow eyes from nicotine, and what's creepier is that he seems to wear yellow clothes. Or maybe white clothes that have been so stained with nicotine.
Is he just Dr. Jaundice? What?
And he looks, we call him, Clown. But
Oh, man. No, but like, what's his deal then? What is he doing that's nefarious?
he's just really scary looking, and he drives around an antiques van. And he obviously looks like a clown who's lived in a cave underground for like 2,000 years smoking. And has come re-emerged in 2019 to run a creepy antiques shop. He also made my mum's friend scream. He turned up at her shop on a rainy, stormy, dark day. My mum and her were sat in there working, and my mum's friend, the main, owner of the business, turned around, saw him looking through the window in the storm, creepy yellow-eyed man that looks like a clown that's been underground for years and years and years. And she literally went, ah! He was just trying to come in the shop. Corpsey. Very ashy.
We'll refer to him as
he is like the more evil,
corpsey clown.
The more evil, sinister-looking brother of Teddy Bear Freak.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Debbie and her husband.
We're really judgy this episode. We're leaning in.
Debbie and her husband return home with these dolls. One of the dolls was a bride doll wearing a white wedding dress with a bouquet and veil.
That's another part of the section
stuff.
of those doll progression. One of them, she's a wedding dress. Yeah.
Debbie said, "It's really just the one doll with the white dress I don't like. I didn't particularly even like touching that one when I bought it. The other two I don't mind as much." So Debbie and Cameron, they had some friends coming to stay, so they displayed the dolls in the house. And this is around the time that Debbie and Cameron start to experience some weird goings-on in their home.
Oh, no.
Smoke alarms kept going off for no reason.
Oh, no, that would scare the shit out of me.
Floorboards were creaking at night as if someone was walking around their home. Debbie thought it might be their daughter getting up in the night and walking around, but every time she checked, her daughter was sound asleep in bed. Debbie starts having nightmares about a doll dragging itself across the floor trying to get at her.
Did I tell you about that time that just triggered a memory? I had a dream where I was being choked by a doll and I woke up and I was choking myself. And so I got my sister to tie my hands up to the bunk bed for a week because I was so scared.
Cassie, that is like horror movie 101.
Like, literally, that's another reason why I was afraid of dolls, is because I kept having these weird doll dreams about that doll in particular that I'm going to tell you about later. And that it was the one choking me in this dream. And yeah, I got my little sister. I was like, tie my hands. I don't want to choke myself. Because I literally was dreaming that I was being choking. And I woke up and my own hands were on my throat.
It's like our childhoods were in some ways living out like a Tim Burton storyline.
It was so fucked up. I literally related so much to Edward Scissorhands. All those films really resonated with me because I had such a dark tinge to my childhood. That's how the 90s felt. There was this underlayer of darkness with all this Satanism and just these weird repressed people in where I was living. And oh my god, I completely blocked that out. I'm gonna horrify the people listening. They're gonna be like, what the fuck?
This is what it's all about, though.
This is what happens when you have a troubled childhood.
We warn you that there are a lot of anecdotes, okay? We do alliteration and anecdotes. That's what you're getting served. These odd occurrences in Debbie's home continue. And then one morning, Cameron, Debbie's husband, wakes up and takes a shower. As the warm water hits his leg, he felt a powerful burning sensation. He realised that his
Tap's
leg
too hot.
and knee were covered in tiny, sharp red scratches.
Ew! Ew! No!
You want to see pictures?
He took a picture?
Oh, yeah.
When was this?
In fact, I'm going to show you the doll as well. 2 years ago, like 2017.
Oh my gosh. So it's really not long ago.
Okay, first I'm going to show you the doll.
If it's the same one as my mom's, I'm leaving this podcast forever. Oh, that's a wrong one. I don't like that. Very similar, but no, mine was
It's like a
blonde.
kind of like weird Edwardian woman, the bride doll.
Fucking very...
It's got yellow eyes as well, which is just that's not good on like
Yeah, it's weird. Why does she have yellow eyes?
white doll like that. Looks like super vampire-y.
I swear this is giving me familiar vibes, but very... God, I gotta...
Oh, here it is in another pose.
Yeah. Oh, it's weird. It's weird. She's got weird eyebrows. What is she saying with her face?
Okay, and then this is Debbie's husband. A very questionable photo, in fact, of his knee, because it looks like he's pulled his trousers down to take the photo of his knee being scratched. That's the scratches.
What the fuck? Where is that? His knee?
That's
he did pull his trousers down.
It's like a toilet.
Looks like cat
Selfie.
scratches. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, dude, seriously.
Okay, so these scratches look similar to small cat scratches. Cameron was skeptical, but Debbie had a suspicion as to who or what had been scratching her husband's leg in the night.
Okay.
Debbie thought that the creepy bride doll's hands were just the right size to have caused the scratches. Debbie's friend, who happens to be a psychic medium, came over to visit. Debbie confided in her friend about the creepy doll and the strange goings-on in their home. The medium friend freaked out and felt uncomfortable and distressed at the thought of sleeping in the same house as the doll. Debbie said, "When I brought the dolls through for them to have a look, she said, 'Get it out, it's got something in it.'"
Who said that?
Her psychic medium friend that came to stay.
Oh, yeah. Gross.
Cassie, what would you do if you went to the charity shop, bought some, like, I don't know, like,
and then my psychic
gnome
medium...
home, and you're like, Violet, look at this gnome that I got. And then I'm like, get it out, it's got something inside it.
I would be, like, fucking freaked out, especially since I had that weird moment where... God.
So Debbie was no stranger to the paranormal herself. In fact, she has had paranormal experiences from the age of 5 and claims to have seen a ghost. Taking into consideration what her medium friend had said, Debbie knew deep down that the doll was haunted. Debbie realised that she had to get rid of the doll before any more harm came to her or her family. You know, it starts out with creepy little scratches.
Yeah, that's malicious.
We've all seen the horror movies. You know, like, soon...
It escalates. It always escalates.
Yeah, like literally like a week later, the doll will be dragging a kitchen knife across the floor to you while you sleep, like, trying to strangle you. So Debbie decided to lock the doll in her garden shed until they could find a way to dispose of the doll. She carefully placed it in a box and placed heavy items on top of it to secure it. A few days later,
it's not enough.
Debbie went
It's not
to
enough.
the shed to look for something when she remembered the doll. Why? Why, Debbie? You were so scared to put it in the shed. Why are you going to go open up the doll box?
She's going to make sure it's there. That's why she's curious to see if it's still there. She wants to freak herself out.
Examining the creepy doll, she realised something was off.
What happened?
Debbie was horrified.
What was it? Was it making a different facial expression?
The doll's necklace was no longer around its neck. It was lying next to it inside the box.
Okay.
And the doll had changed position.
Okay. So she was like, oh God, this necklace is so heavy.
And then it was like tossing and turning in the box. Like,
oh no.
Debbie
it tried to get out, Violet. It tried to get out.
scratched the box. Maybe Debbie should have checked the lid inside if it was
Yeah.
clawing its way out. Debbie recalled having wrapped the small pearl chain around the doll's neck 4 times before placing it in the box. Okay. It appeared to her that the doll had removed the necklace itself.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a little eye roll there, Cassie?
It didn't need that. All she needed to say to make us creeped out is like, there's scratches on the box and the doll was face down when she had laid it face up carefully. That would have been creepypasta.
Debbie was so scared she could barely touch the doll. She said it made her feel sick.
Oh.
Debbie decided to discard this potentially dangerous haunted doll in the most responsible way possible.
Burn it!
Did she have it exorcised or blessed and set on fire in a special doll ceremony at a shrine in Japan?
No.
No, she put the doll on eBay for £25 in the hope of getting rid of it.
Did she list it as haunted? You know she fucking did.
Yes. Debbie said, I took some pictures of it because I wanted to put it on eBay and then I left it. I even struggled to upload the pictures to eBay. It was really strange. That had never happened before. Debbie was too scared to even look at or touch the doll. She said, I don't want to go back into the shed now. I won't touch it again. It can get picked up if it's bought, and if we need to post it, my husband can package it up. If it doesn't sell, I'll give it to a charity shop. It's the women in my family who experience paranormal things. In my last house, there was definitely something there. I think my dad, who died recently, might be trying to get in touch. Obviously, the haunted eBay listing became quite a sensation on eBay. A lot of people, it got out in the media, it was in the newspapers, or certain newspapers anyway. Debbie said, some people on social media have told me it has something in it. Some said it doesn't. There could be something in the doll. I believe things can attach to items. That's why I have no old furniture in my house.
Smart lady.
Man, that's not good news for me. My creepy old furniture. Debbie's haunted doll sold on eBay for £866.
Well done, Debbie.
Following a tense international bidding war between paranormal enthusiasts.
Go, Debbie.
The winner was Lee Steer, a 30-year-old paranormal investigator from Rotherham, South Yorkshire.
Wow. British people.
Keeping it in the country.
Yeah, I can't. Britain's won this time. There's an American pissed off bidding on the other end.
Lee lived at home with his parents. That's not me being judgy, it's important to the story.
Okay.
Just 2 days after receiving the haunted doll at his home, Lee's father discovers tiny scratches on his arms, the same size as the doll's hands. You want to see the photo evidence?
They're slightly different to the other ones. Gotta say, they are slightly different in size to the other ones. Of the toilet picture. Couldn't get quite a good look.
So Lee, the guy who purchased the doll, he said, it was a bit unusual. Later that day, my dad, was watching the repeat of one of our live streams with the haunted doll. Because obviously Lee's a, serious enthusiast. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff online. Then, my dad said to my mum, my arm's hurting. Dad lifted up his sleeve and he had 6 scratches on his arm. It seems pretty similar to the scratches on Debbie's husband from what I can tell. We have no idea where these scratches came from. My dad is a believer and he said he's not happy with it, the doll, being in the house. Family also experienced eerie tapping noises, flickering lights, mysterious breakages, and even artwork on the walls swinging mysteriously. They said, we've gone months without anything unusual happening, and as soon as this doll is mentioned, things start happening. The doll's former owner, Debbie, says she isn't surprised that the creepy item continues to wreak havoc. Debbie said, I was so glad when the doll went, to be honest. I've been keeping myself updated with all that's been happening. It was a real shocker when Lee messaged me to say his dad had been scratched too.
Oh no.
I wasn't surprised when he opened it live and was getting flickering lights. So he obviously did like an unboxing.
Yeah.
Like, God, that's a great world, isn't it?
Oh,
the niche
God.
world of
Unboxing
paranormal
haunted.
enthusiasts.
I've seen a lot of
haunted
videos though,
unboxings.
of that stuff.
Those like creepy package, mystery packages and stuff
Yeah.
that people used to get from the dark web, all of that kind of stuff.
You've got to, seriously, people, check out eBay. There's so many haunted items for sale. Like, it's crazy.
Here's a little picture of, I think this is some of Lee Steer's paranormal collection featuring the haunted doll. Check that out.
Oh god, this guy needs to not. That doll. Oh god, Violet, that might be. Yeah, look at the way her hands are holding. It might be the same series. I'm just gonna Google while you're doing that. Try and find this doll series. How would you even Google that shit? Like.
Okay, we're almost done with this one. So, what is the verdict, Cassie? Real haunted doll or not?
Very clever way to sell the item, but they don't all go like that. They don't all get picked up, so, you know.
I think Debbie was smart. I think she reached out to the media.
Maybe, yeah.
Clever eBay and making those peas.
Yeah. Because it's just, some of the story I'm just like, really? That's the word you're going for? But, I mean, whatever. If it's real, and of course, both of them stand to gain. Because she was selling the doll, and the other guy because it helps him on his YouTube channel and live streams to be like, oh, look, this doll's really haunted. Like, it's doing the same thing.
Yeah. It's like...
It's contradictory. Like, it's a frivolous, petty contradiction, but what she says, it was a real shocker, but I wasn't surprised. She's telling you exactly what she's thinking. She was very surprised.
It's like, I don't know, it's just like, if you believe in something enough, you can manifest it into existence.
Yeah.
Or you will see patterns that aren't really there. I mean, Debbie kind of alluded to the fact it might be a spirit that's trying to get in contact. I just want to say, please don't haunt me with a creepy doll from a junk shop. If you are an ancestral spirit trying to catch up with me, that is not the way to go about it. And there we go. On to the next story.
Oh, she's so creepy. All right, so of course we're going back to the Warrens, our favorite power couple of paranormal world, more alliteration. The Warrens, specifically demonologists, self-proclaimed demonologist Ed Warren and his wife Lorraine Warren, a medium in touch with that side of things, could see auras, all that sensitivity stuff. I'm taking this directly from their website, warrens.net. Basically, we're going to talk about the Annabelle doll, which is famed for the Annabelle movie, which, you know, everyone can see that creepy-ass doll.
Oh, man.
It's part of the Conjuring universe. It's got its own fucking... Everything has to have a film universe. I watched one of those
recent Annabelle movies where it was like a load of kids in a barn running around, and that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
I didn't have high hopes, but I was quite creeped out.
That creepy doll basically does have a real backstory. But it's actually, so this is the creepy doll you see in the movie. But it's actually a Raggedy Ann doll, and as you can see in the museum, they light it up in red. I used to have I used to have my own Raggedy Ann doll, and as a Halloween costume, I dressed as a doll. My mom sewed me a Raggedy Ann thing, and she could hardly finish sewing it because I kept wearing it when she'd try it on me to do the stitching and stuff, and to like size it. I would run around and refuse to get out of it because I loved it so much. So me and my Raggedy Ann were dressed exactly alike, and she did the face paint, so I was a doll.
We really were Tim Burton characters, Cassie, like, for sure.
In 1970, a mother purchased an antique Raggedy Ann doll. You can find this all at NESPR association with the Warrens.net/Annabelle.
Put all of it on our diary.
Yes.
Go there.
Go there. I'm not just plagiarizing. All right. In 1970, a mother purchased an antique Raggedy Ann doll from a hobby store. So she finds this fucking cute little doll in a hobby store.
Yeah, it's a cute knitted doll.
Yeah, she's going to give it to her daughter for a birthday present. Her daughter's preparing to graduate from college with a nursing degree. She lived in a tiny apartment with her roommate, Angie.
I don't want a doll at that age. Like, at least give me some shoes or some money or something.
Yeah. So
Raggedy Ann doll.
they leave it in her room as like a little decoration for on the bed, like during the day before you sleep kind of thing. But within days, both of the roomies noticed there was something very unusual, creepy about the doll. It mysteriously seemed to move about the house on its own. Relatively small movements at first, just a leg, maybe, you know, a change in position, maybe the head, maybe it would be over, maybe its shoulder would be over, maybe its leg would be in a different.
Head just slowly tips to one side on the cushion.
Well, or you leave the room and you come back and the leg's in a different position.
Did I tell you I had, you know, those little telephone with the face? In
Yeah,
Toy Story?
I had one of those. I was thinking about that the other day.
Mine used to, you know, eyes rolled back in its head. Mine used to just sit there doing that out of nowhere, rolling its eyes, and it creeped me out so bad when I was a kid. Just like, it would just be on like a cupboard or something, and it would just start blinking.
Mine, because I loved it and didn't like it at the same time, because I love the idea of having a phone, but it was a bit creepy, so it had a special place in the closet in the corner where it couldn't be seen until I needed it for like playing. So yeah, so it starts making these tiny moves, and then they come home to find it suddenly in a different fucking room, right? And sometimes it would be legs crossed, arms folded. Other times it would be upright, standing on its feet. Sometimes she would leave the doll on the couch for going to work, and then she would return to find it back in her room on the bed with the door closed. Like, this is my room.
Ugh, someone's really dedicated to like messing around with this doll if it's not really a ghost.
Yeah. So it did not only move about, but it would write as well.
Oh, okay. That's when things need to stop. When it starts writing freaking letters.
Get rid of that fucking doll.
Like, that's next level.
If it
that's like
if I
a big
even
step.
thought, like, let's say somebody got me a Raggedy Ann doll, and out of like niceness, I wanted to keep it or whatever.
Yeah.
If I saw it move once, I'd burn it with sage and chant over it and bless it and be like,
take it to that shrine. Like,
yeah, I would send it to Japan in an unmarked package, just like, get rid of this doll, please. Arigato gozaimasu. So,
oh, man, there's a big step going from twitching a leg and like being in different places to writing.
But how much of that is like, maybe it's grabbing more energy from being around these young, youthful women
who are believing in it. Don't believe in the boggarts, because that's what gives them power.
They start finding little messages on parchment paper that read, "Help us," and "Help Lou."
Oh, man.
The handwriting looking as if a child wrote it.
Okay, so that someone did it in their like left hand.
And it's not only the wording, but the way it's written. At the time, she had never kept parchment paper, so she didn't know where these little bits of parchment paper were coming from, these old-fashioned bits of paper.
Gross.
One night, she comes home to find the doll had moved again. This time it was on her bed. She had come to find that this is typical of the doll, so she's just like, yeah, whatever, because it's not doing anything stupidly scary. But something was different this time. She got all scared when she inspected it and saw what looked like blood drops on the back of its hands and chest. A liquidy red substance just simply appeared on the doll. Scared and desperate, they decided it was time to find expert people. Not knowing where to turn, they contacted a medium and a seance was held. She was then introduced to the spirit of Annabelle Higgins.
Okay.
The medium related the story of Annabelle to Donna and Angie, and she was a young girl that resided in the property before the apartments were built. She was a young girl of only 7 years old when her lifeless body was found in the field upon which the apartment complex stands. And the spirit related to the medium that she felt comfort with Donna and Angie and wanted to stay with them and be loved. Feeling compassion for her and her story, Donna gave her permission to inhibit the doll and stay with them. They were to soon find out, however, that Annabelle was not what she appeared to be.
Oh, man. So what is it? Oh, let's figure this out. The ghost got sucked into the doll when they gave it to her? Well, where are these apartments?
No, yeah, the apartments that they live in now as students used to apparently house.
Okay, so that's where the ghost came from.
And the ghost came from that and inhabited the doll, or temporarily trying to get into the doll.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like doing random movements and all of a sudden
guys,
mobility.
be careful
and
with
then
your dolls.
Lou was friends with Donna and Angie and had been with them since the day the doll arrived. Lou had never been fond of the doll and on several occasions warned Donna that it was evil and to get rid of it.
Oh, fuck.
Donna had a compassionate
Can you imagine
tie to
being like, Cassie, it's evil. You need to get rid of it. And you're being like,
no, it's all
fine.
right. It's like
It's just
no,
writing letters saying it's gonna kill me.
It's just like a little dead girl that was found out in the field outside. Don't worry about it. I told her she has permission to stay, and I've given her a name.
Oh, I'd be like, you're beyond help
They
now, Cassie.
don't realize that it's just a boggart like tricking you and being like, give me the power.
Yeah.
They are responsible people that don't know everything. And they just assume it's like, I wonder how many shit mediums there are out there that like think everything's a ghost because they just sense things and maybe they don't have a great sense. Maybe like, you know, they're not Rocky Balboa, you know, maybe they're like a shit boxer, you know? So she had a compassionate tie to the doll and she just didn't listen to her friend Lou. She was like, fuck that. I think this is a great idea. Turns out, terrible mistake. I love the way they're writing this.
Oh.
So she awoke one night from a deep sleep in panic. Once again, so Lou awoke. Once again, he had a recurring bad dream, only this time somehow something seemed different. So he got the instinct and she ignored it. So he's tapping into that energy. Good job, Lou. It was as though he was awake, but he couldn't move. So sleep paralysis. He looked down around the room, but couldn't discern anything out of the ordinary. And then it happened. Looking down toward his feet, he saw the doll, Annabelle. It began to slowly glide up his leg, moved over his chest, and then stopped. Within seconds, the doll was strangling him. Paralyzed and gasping for breath, Lou, at the point of asphyxiation, blacked out. He woke the next morning certain it wasn't a dream, determined to rid himself of the doll and the spirit that possessed it. However, he would have one more terrifying experience with Annabelle.
Ooh.
Preparing for a road trip the next day, they were reading over maps alone in Angie and Donna's apartment. Lou and Angie seemed eerily quiet. Suddenly, rustling sounds coming from Donna's room got them all freaked out and scared that someone broke into the apartment.
Okay.
So, you know, Lou, like, is going to figure out what's going on. So he starts making his way to the bedroom door all sneakily. And he waits for the noises to stop. And then he enters and turns on the light. And it's empty except for Annabelle, whom was tossed on the floor in the corner.
Ooh.
He scoured the room for forced entry, but nothing was out of place. But as he got close to the doll, he got the distinct impression that somebody was behind him. Spinning around, he was quick to realize that nobody else was there. Then in a flash, he found himself grabbing his chest, doubled over, cut and bleeding. His shirt was stained with blood, and upon opening his shirt, there looked to be 7 distinct claw marks.
Oh, what is it with dolls and scratching people?
Yeah,
man?
it's
like,
really weird.
That's like a weird, like,
Animalistic.
choice of attack, you know.
3 vertical, 4 horizontal, and all were hot like burns, so that other burning sensation to a scratch. They healed almost immediately, half gone the next day, fully gone by day 2. She's starting to believe that maybe it wasn't the spirit of a human girl, but maybe demonic. And after Lou's experiences, Donna's like, okay, it's time to get a fucking priest. We get Father Hegan. He's like, yes, this is totally in my realm. This is super spiritual. We need to get a higher authority. Let's do it. Father Cook, my bro, he's ready. Father Cook's like, you know what? Warrens. So this network of priests get to the Warrens. So they're like, okay, before we get the church immediately involved, let's send out the kooky Warrens to basically whittle out whether this is serious or this is something that actually needs church attention. I think that's what they use the Warrens for.
Yeah.
It's like a friendly connection with the church.
And the Warrens were the people in the Demonology
Demonology
episode
101.
who were the ones that, like, they turned up with, like, a painting of the house and were like, by the way, your house is haunted.
Yeah.
Here's a free painting we made of it. Not creepy.
All right. They speak to the Warrens. After speaking with Donna, Angie, and Lou, came to the immediate conclusion that the doll itself was not in fact possessed, but manipulated by an inhuman presence. They claim that spirits do not possess inanimate objects like houses or toys. They possess people. So it depends on your beliefs, because we know from other cultures like Japanese culture that things can get possessed by specifically spirits, different types of spirits. But they go specifically off their Catholic demonology stuff. So to them, they've diagnosed it as a demonic presence. It is not a ghost. It's not a spirit. And they don't believe things can be haunted like that with spirits. But, you believe what you want to believe. An inhuman spirit can attach itself to a place or object, and this is what occurred. So if it's demonic, they're basically saying it's not a human spirit. It's got to be a demon or something. So then maybe that's how they classify it differently under their religion. It manipulated the doll and created the illusion of it being alive in order to get recognition. And truly, the spirit was not looking to stay attached to the doll. It was looking to possess a human host.
Ooh, like climbing the ladder of
here's
first
the thing.
Possess the finger puppet, then possess the hand puppet, then possess a doll, and then possess a child.
Yeah. Like, here, look at me, I'm a cute doll.
Yeah.
Like, look at the doll move.
God, it's so Pennywise-y, isn't it?
And it starts getting, and he gets people afraid. And just because one of them being skeptical and afraid and not liking it, it negatively attaches to that person to make them freak out, so that they influence their friends to freak out.
It's the patterns.
So the spirit, or in this case, an inhuman demonic spirit, was essentially in the infestation stage of the phenomenon. It first began moving the doll around by means of teleportation.
Infestation stage. I mean, these demonologists and stuff talking about exorcising demons like they're cockroaches.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like pest control for the paranormal world. This is Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's so true. It's an infestation.
You got an infestation.
This is total infestation stage. I'm really sorry to say. I mean, if you'd gotten to us when the doll was just starting to move, we might have been able to clear this up really quickly. All right, so, I mean, it was laying notes. At what point did you think that was fucked up? You don't own parchment, ma'am. That is a red flag.
Laying the little ghost traps.
Oh my god.
Throwing in like a ghost bomb.
So, they predictably made the mistake of bringing a medium to communicate with it, which is only going to stir it and give it a name. Now it can communicate through the medium, because the medium's a vessel. And then prey on the girl's emotion vulnerabilities by pretending to be a harmless, lost young girl during the seance and be allowed permission to haunt the apartment, which gives it even more power. Is then set about causing, basically negative shit to occur. It starts creating fear, and it actually creates materialization of these notes, the blood, and attacking.
It was like,
Lou.
the more you believe in it, the more you can manifest it, kind of thing.
And if the experience had lasted 2 or 3 weeks more, it would have completely possessed, if not harmed or killed, one or all of the occupants. We would have seen what happened in the last story, where the demon was in full possession of the young boy and he assaulted somebody. At the end of the investigation, the Warrens felt it was appropriate to have a recitation of an exorcism blessing by Father Cook to cleanse the apartment.
Okay.
Basically a 7-page document that's positive in nature rather than specifically expelling evil entities from the dwelling. The emphasis is instead directed toward filling the home with the power of positive and of God.
Okay, that's a nice idea.
So maybe the house is natural haven. As a further precaution that it would never occur, they also took the ragdoll along with them when they left, and now you can view it at their museum. Father Cook, although uncomfortable with his role as an exorcist, agreed to perform the 7-page rite. They took the doll back with them afterwards, and upon leaving, Ed placed the doll in the back seat and agreed he would not take the interstate in the event the spirit still resided with the doll.
Oh man, imagine driving stuff like that around.
So he's like, I'm gonna
the poor postmen that have to ferry these eBay haunted dolls around.
He can't take the interstate, so he's taking small roads the whole way back to Connecticut and that, because they just know the doll might cause them to swerve and shit.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Stuff that I've never had to think about that I don't appreciate.
Repeatedly, the car verged on collision.
Oh, man.
There was dangerous curves and swerves, and it stalled on corners, causing the power steering and brakes to fail. He reached into the back seat into his black bag and took out a vial of holy water and doused the doll in it. And did the sign of the cross.
I would love to see a what's in my bag with a demonologist. Just just keep a holy water handy for whenever I'm driving a haunted doll across the state.
But yeah, they managed to drive safely home after that. So after they get home, Ed sat the doll in a chair next to his desk. it levitated a number of times,
Oh my
and it
God.
seemed to fall inert. During the ensuing weeks, it began showing up in various rooms. When they were away, they had it locked up.
Imagine
They would
that being
often
your
find
job.
it sitting in the chair. The
Having
doll.
to deal with all this stuff in your house. Like,
It also, anytime clergymen came to the house, the doll would be like pissed off.
talk about bringing your work home with you. Like, that. At least. Just. Yeah.
Oh my god. So in one instance, Father Jason Bradford, a Catholic exorcist, came to the house. Upon seeing the doll seated in a chair, he picked it up and said, "You're just a rag doll, Annabelle. You can't hurt anyone," and tossed the doll back in the chair.
Okay, great. That's
and
gonna
Ed
work.
exclaimed, "That's one thing you better not say." I love they make it a point that the Ed and Lorraine always have to be snug, like, "Don't do that," and wave their finger. Upon leaving, an hour later, Lorraine pleaded to the priest to please be careful driving and to call her when he arrived home. She discerned tragedy for this young priest, but he had to go his way. A few hours later, Father Jason called and explained that his brakes had failed as he entered a busy intersection. He was involved in a near-fatal accident, destroying his vehicle. Yep, it was just one of many such events that occurred over the next few years. They built a special case for it in their museum.
How do they get it to the
A
museum?
guy died in a motorcycle accident after visiting it.
Oh, man. And I like that they put it in a creepy red light to make it
Yeah.
look more creepy.
Yeah, it looks like they keep it in like this weird special case with some red lighting. I mean, the whole museum is set up super creepy as fuck.
Yeah,
and they
well,
do
of
this
course.
whole routine when you enter, according to the videos I've seen, where they're like, "Don't touch anything. Like, we can't be responsible for it." Like,
God, if I was going to have, if we were going to open a museum of haunted objects, I would make it like futuristic, clinical X-Men white with like lasers
I'd be one of the
and stuff.
displays.
Like, yeah, okay, we probably would. This podcast could be one of the displays, like a haunted podcast.
It would be great. One day we will have some kind of quirky hippie shop in Glastonbury or somewhere,
Selling haunted dolls.
and like a tiny academy upstairs where we tutor young witches.
Maybe we'll just end up building some massive paranormal complex.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Hogwarts.
Yeah, imagine like and special paranormal people like
Yeah.
get a letter to spend a semester there.
How
Like
exciting.
as a scholarship.
Imagine if we like really sold this idea, built the school, and then people turned up and we just like and we have to teach all these lessons.
I'd be able to literally in a night have lessons planned. You know me, I could talk about I could bullshit my way through a fucking class. Especially on paranormal
I'm
stuff.
just gonna get a projector, like a really
And
old
you know
projector.
what? It's gonna be a bunch of know-it-all paranormal people. So I'll be like, "Who wants?" And they're just desperate to talk. So you're like,
Yeah.
you let them do the lesson. We're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
today's topic is this. Who can tell me about this? And they'll all give you the answers themselves.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll get projector, get the demonology book out, be like, who can tell me about this 10-headed man with a snake leg? And be like,
You literally
I
will
just let
have
them do the
toes.
work.
And we'll have to go through it, and they have to write the notes
Man,
and learn it.
That's
Easy.
It's the oldest teaching trick in the book.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we can do it.
Is it tarot time?
Yes. All right, let's do this.
Can we just, while we prepare the tarot, talk about the display on the table at the moment? Because Cassie is one of the few people I know who has actually made some dolls in the time that I've known her. So we have a little...
Yeah, I don't like dolls, but I like puppets and weird shit. But
So I was going to mention earlier that we have a little friend called Terry that some of our listeners will know about.
Yeah, she's Terry from Tyaskin, a character I made and a puppet I made. Personally made. Currently, she's decapitated. I have her body, but I can't find her head anywhere.
Oh, man, we're so weird.
It's disconcerting. But I'm making a new Terry. I'm gonna actually have another proper go at puppet making and make a brand new Terry.
Yeah, we did want to do a puppet show at one point.
Yeah, but I stream online video games, and sometimes my viewers send me some stuff, and I challenged people a couple years ago to make voodoo dolls of me, and somehow instead of like being mean to them, like make them successful, maybe like have it like a bunch of money in the voodoo doll's hands, or like
At some point we will definitely do some kind of weird puppet project
but yeah, like
that you guys can be involved in.
We've got one of those voodoo dolls was actually sent to me recently.
I was going to say, this is a gift, isn't it?
Yeah.
This voodoo doll that we've
It
got
was
on the
a voodoo
table
doll
here.
of me. It's
I'll definitely take a picture with our tarot reading
yeah.
so you guys can see.
All right, let's see what we got here. Ooh, that makes sense. Hopefully this thing, he's come up before. All right, so in the recent past, we have the moon, which is upright as, of course, illusion, fear, anxiety, subconscious, intuition. It can indicate a time of uncertainty. That's exactly how I've been feeling, especially with the podcast. And my general outlook on life is like, I haven't been necessarily negative, but I've just been uncertain about everything. I've just been like, you know, I feel good about everything, but, you know, I just never know how things are, like what people are thinking, you know, and stuff like that. It says, if it appears in your reading, pay close attention to lunar cycles and attune to its ritual. You know, connect with the divine and feminine. Get back to your intuition, you know, what lies beyond just everyday life. That's what it's saying. Our present doesn't look great.
Oh man, the Ten of Swords.
It's like the worst. It's the worst. So this one's like painful endings, deep wounds, betrayal, loss, crisis.
Oh my god.
That's our current situation right now. Like, it's like just... I mean, I personally have been feeling not negative about the podcast, but just sort of like
just on a downer at the moment.
I'm on
you
a
know,
downer
like,
in general, so everything feels down.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, you know, are we doing enough? Are we funny enough? Are we
like,
cool enough?
At a moment like this, like,
have I researched enough?
Just like beyond this podcast and this town, like politically and like all of that stuff is just scary. Like sometimes I'm just there in the morning, like, you know, like we were saying earlier, like we just almost feel like on the brink of war or something.
We were
it's
talking
like
about that. It was
there's
like...
such an uneasy feeling sometimes that like permeates through everything. It's very we've got good reason to be anxious, I think. Or especially you know, we do in our kind of position.
I don't know. It's just that I struggle against those feelings all the time, but hopefully it'll get better. Our soon to be future, balance, you know, mastery over realms of emotion, creative and the conscious. When this turns up in a reading, you gain control of your feelings and you can accept them without allowing them to get the better of you. So maybe all these conflicting feelings.
We've had that's the second King of Cauldrons, but we've had one very recently in the past few weeks.
And I just shuffled the shit out of that deck while we were chatting.
No, he's there's obviously a recurring bit of good advice that we would need to work on, you know, of like
constantly stay emotionally balanced, so
mastering our emotions a bit more, maybe. And trying to channel all this like anxiety and the bad times and turn that into a determination to kind of improve
be
things.
As chill as this dude who seems to know it all, and he's like just looking over his kingdom with his cup in his hand because he's mastered it. He knows how to survive it. God, I hope I hope that does happen because I could use some balance. It's fucking hot in here. It's such a heat wave. Okay, let's open the iPad. So hot in the UK, so hot. So maybe you are a paranormal enthusiast who collects haunted stuff. Have you ever experienced anything creepy with a doll or a stuffed animal? Did you have another doll story that was creepy? Oh, yeah.
Like a doll that...
Basically, I was given a doll. My sister and I were given the same doll. And because mine didn't work, they gave me hers because it was a battery doll with these phrases that it said. Mine just didn't work at all. And rather than going back to the shop and trying to get this doll, my little sister was 2 years younger than me, so she didn't really care whether it talked. So I got this talking doll, and I loved it because it was from my grandma. But when I took it home, and it was in my grandma's house for God knows how long, so that haunted ass house, maybe it was trying to get in through that doll. Ew. And basically, this doll just really creeped me out when I got back home. I just couldn't. The first day, like even when she gave it to me, I was feeling a bit uneasy, like, but really happy that they got the batteried one for me because I thought it was very nice of them to do that. But at the same time, I was just really creeped out. And then I kept throwing it away. I would hide it around the house and it would keep turning up in my room. And then one time I threw it out in the bin and it still fucking returned. Oh. And years later, I found out it was my dad retrieving it from various places. But yeah, that was really creepy what was happening, and I had that nightmare around that time. Oh, man. But I would literally find it in weird places, like, and I only think my dad retrieved it a couple times. It was just very weird. I remember that being so traumatic, and like, yeah, I only just remember that choking thing, but like, that doll really creeped me out. I kept trying to get rid of it, and then I think they finally did get rid of it. But it was like about yay high. It was like you know, maybe a 1.5 foot doll, quite a big doll with battery shit you put in the back, and the talking thing was weird. It would do jumbled talking. Like it would be like, you know, hold my hand.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh,
no.
And like it would just do it at random times when you had to press really hard on the button on the hand, and it would just do it all the time. It was, I don't like that dog.
That's horrible.
Hold my hand.
One Easter egg thrown at the end. That are the kind of stories we want to hear, people, okay? Like, did your teddy bear drag itself along the floor at night with a mini ice pick in its paw? Right now, as you listen to our voices, maybe there's a creepy porcelain doll with bloody red eyes and sharp, spiky little teeth sneaking up behind you.
No! Look behind you!
And it's gonna claw at the back of your calf muscle.
So you can
with its spooky little doll hands, and then you can take a weird toilet photo of your scratched leg. We don't necessarily want those photos, but send your stories to worldwearypodcast@gmail.com. Check out our Instagram, World Weary Podcast. We're on Twitter @WorldWearyPod, and our website is worldwearypodcast.com.
That's right.
That's right, people. Until next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.